Great day, good people. I'm Aya here at Haji Healing Salon in Chicago, and I'm here today to share our September Haji Yoga Flow with you. This practice is designed to inspire a sense of grounding and connectedness with earth energy. It's inspired by chapters 12 and 13 of The Healing Wisdom of Africa by Malidoma Patrice Somé. This book is our community read. We've been reading it all year, and the 12th and 13th chapters are all about earth and mineral rituals. So, if you enjoy using props in your practice, bring in a block and a blanket, having them near your mat so that you can call them in whenever you need them. We'll begin seated so that we can establish the breath. So take a comfortable cross-legged seat, and if sitting cross-legged isn't comfortable for you, choose another seat that allows you to call in grounding. You might be supported by a block if you'd like to bring that in and wedge it under your tail to lift the hips and create a little more ease there. Set the palms down over the knees. Keep the ears aligned over the shoulders and gaze down toward the earth. If you'd prefer, you might also close your eyes. We begin by observing the natural, easy, and free breath. So that's the way your body is naturally breathing today. There's nothing for you to do here but observe the movement of breath in and out through the nostrils. Notice also how it feels to be in your body right now. As you're allowing the natural, easy, and free breath to flow, it's helpful to also tune into the physical body so that you can be open and receptive to any messages the body may have for you today. Sensation is the body's form of communicating with us. Maybe you can learn something that will support you in your practice today about how best to care for your body. When you feel you have a sense of the natural, easy, and free breath, you have more information you can use when you're asked to alter that breath. So in yoga, we use something called the Ujjayi pranayama, two Sanskrit words. Ujjayi meaning victory and pranayama meaning breath practice. So the Ujjayi breath is created by slightly contracting the muscles in the throat to narrow the airway. This allows for the same amount of breath that you always have to move through the passage a little more slowly. And it also allows you to create a raspy whispering sound that you can hear with both the inhale and exhale. Listen for my Ujjayi. If you're new to the practice of deep breathing, your breath may be a little more shallow, and it may be challenging to find the sound, to create the sound with both your inhale and exhale. But be patient with yourself and practice compassion. Trust that as you continue to practice this breath, it will become more and more available to you. In the meantime, just do your best, breathing in and out through the nose in a way that feels calming and cleansing for you. Let's take 2 more Ujjayi breaths here while calling to mind a personal and powerful intention for practice today. An intention, also known in Sanskrit as a sankalpa, is a way to superpower your practice. You really benefit from sankalpa when you speak it to yourself as an affirmative statement. A community sankalpa that I'll offer for practice today is I am grounded and connected to the earth. I am always grounded and connected to the earth. I am grounded and connected to the earth. So speak your own intention to yourself now with conviction. And when you feel ready, take the palms together at the heart. In my practice, I chant the sound of Om, which is the primordial sound of the universe. It has three parts, Ah, O, and You're welcome to join me in the chant, or you can simply listen, feeling for the vibration, or choose to hum, because that will help you connect with your own vibratory sound in a way that's more comfortable for you. Breathing in through the nose to prepare. Feel the vibration of your Om within you and within the room. And bring the thumbs up to rest between the eyebrows, bowing the head in toward the heart. We bow with all reverence into ourselves and this practice. We bow to earth and ancestors, giving thanks. Releasing the hands into the lap, let the eyelids flutter open and see the palms down below, inviting a big breath in. And a full breath out. Sometimes we'll audibly exhale through the mouth in order to clear. Reach underneath you for that block if you're seated on it or something else, and move it to the side. Take a moment to tend to the body. If there's any tension in the legs or the hips and you have a sense that it would be helpful to lengthen the legs, go ahead and do that. Maybe bounce the knees a few times or point and flex the toes. And when you feel ready, come back to a comfortable cross-legged seat. You also might choose to sit with your legs extended out in front of you. Both are welcome. Take the fingertips to the earth and know that there are portals in the palms of the hands through which earth energy can travel into the body along the length of the arms to fill your heart space. Know that you're also always connected to the earth through the very base of your body, through your root chakra. So see if as you sit comfortably on the floor, you can see, feel, and activate the knowing that you and the earth are connected. Invite a big breath in through the nose. And when you exhale, see, feel, and imagine that anything that has already served you is able to travel out through the tail and through the palms of the hands to be given away, taken for you by the earth. With the very next inhale, let's float the arms up and overhead. As the palms press together, you'll exhale and bend the elbows, interlacing the fingers. Turn the palms inside out and press them up away from the crown of the head as you breathe in, hugging those arms in close to the ears. Exhale and drop the shoulders down, creating a longer neck and a little more spaciousness between ears and shoulders. Keep rooting down through the tail and try to stay soft in the hips as you invite more length in the side body with your next big breath in. And allow the exhale to move you into a lateral stretch to the right as you feel ready. Any amount of arch over to the right is welcome. Don't overdo it. Pull your navel in as you come back to center, inhaling. And when you exhale, you'll arc the body over toward the left, keeping the right side tail grounded, knowing that if it lifts off the floor, you've gone a little too far. Pull the belly in and inhale to come back to center. And when you exhale, you'll gently unlace the hands, send those palms up, and begin to twist, first over to the right. Bring the left hand to the outside of the right knee And let the right fingers touch the floor behind you. Turn your head and gaze back. When you inhale, you'll float both arms back up to the center. And as you exhale, you'll twist toward the left, pressing hand against knee and drawing the other 5 fingers to the floor behind you. Gaze back. Inhaling, float the 2 arms up. And as you exhale, bring the hands to the knees and give them a lift. Let's lay the knees to one side and crawl toward the front edge of the mat on all fours. Take a moment here to maybe wag your tail a little bit, maybe to circle the hips if that feels helpful, and allow yourself some exploratory movement here that helps you feel the condition of your spine today. Cat-cows are welcome, but it's just a moment of transition as we begin to come down onto the belly to move into crocodile pose. In crocodile pose, the whole body is connected to the earth. We bring the arms and hands out in front and stack them atop one another so that the third eye can rest down comfortably. We'll move the feet apart as wide as the mat, and maybe it's helpful to turn the heels in and out a couple times to release any tension you may be holding in the joints. You can even move this into a little shimmy for the hips if that feels helpful in helping you ground. The movement from one side to the other kind of better helps us find the center. So take a moment to root the pelvis down, to maintain the length of the legs with the toes turned in and the heels resting outward, and to feel the weight of the rib cage resting on the floor, noticing how it feels to breathe deeply with your belly and rib cage on the earth. If you'd like, you might see, feel, and imagine that the earth is breathing with you, so that every time you breathe in, you feel the earth breathing in and rising up to meet your resting body. And every time you breathe out, you have a sense of release and letting go, just allowing yourself to be nestled in the lap of the Great Mother. Let's take 2 more deep breaths here. Allowing your arms to hold the full weight of your head. No tension in the neck. 1 more deep breath. Now with the next inhale, you'll lift your head away from your arms. And as you exhale, root the elbows down, lift your head and chest a bit off the floor, and come to rest your chin in your hands. This might make you feel like a little kid again, as we might all remember kind of watching TV in this position. We'll walk the legs a bit closer together and keep the toes reaching back. Feel the pelvis still anchored to the floor. The navel is glued down as well, but feel the rib cage lifted slightly, and invite a tuck to the chin that supports lengthening in the back of the neck. Play around with the position of the elbows until you feel a sense of comfort and ease here. Invite another deep breath in this crocodile variation. Makrasana is Sanskrit for crocodile. When you're ready, lift the face off the hands and extend the arms forward beyond the front edge of your mat. Release the forehead down now and feel into your lengthened body. Bring awareness now to the right hand and the left leg, so that when you inhale, you're able to lift both limbs away from the floor, along with the head and the chest, reaching powerfully in opposite directions. Exhale and slowly lower down, softening back into the earth. Inhale to bring the left arm and right leg up away from the floor. Lift, lift, lift from the strength of the back. And as you exhale, gently lower down. We'll do 1 more cycle of opposite arm and leg lifts. The palm that's on the floor is supporting you. So push down into it to give you a little more lift. Reach that leg as high as the arm and exhale, soften down. And last time, inhale, bring head, chest, arm, and leg up away from the floor, any amount. And exhale to slowly lower down. Now, the next time you inhale, you'll bend your elbows back in the direction of your shoulders with the arms floating off the floor. Push the pelvis and the feet down and bring the head and chest up away from the floor, any amount. And then exhale, taking the arms out into a T, come down to the floor, resting. Look to the right arm and see that your wrist and shoulder are in alignment with one another. And then take a moment to roll that shoulder head forward and down toward. Bring the left hand in underneath your shoulder and squeezing the legs together, you'll begin to roll over onto that right shoulder and the whole right side of the body. Push into that left palm and let the right side of the head drop down to the floor. Breathe deeply through flexed feet and stacked hips as you feel into the opening for the right side chest and shoulder head, and breathe deeply into this intense shoulder stretch. You're welcome to stay here with the legs stacked, though the next step is to bend the knee and place the sole of the right foot to the floor behind the left. You're bending the left knee and putting the sole of that foot behind the right leg. Big breath in, full breath out. When you're ready to come back, lengthen your leg, roll back to center, and be very mindful about how you release the shoulder. Let's bring the right hand in under the shoulder. Stretch the left arm out at the height so the wrist and the shoulder are at the same height. Roll the left shoulder down, push into the right palm to begin rolling over onto the side body, stacking the legs, flexing the feet, rest the head down. Take a few deep breaths, pushing into that right palm, and maybe bending right knee so that you can set the foot flat to the floor behind the left leg. Sometimes it's helpful to scoop the pelvis a little forward to find better alignment in the body, but let feeling be your guide. Breathing deeply is the balm to sensation that might feel intense. If you're new to this stretch, it can be a lot. So please be patient and compassionate with yourself and come out if you feel any sharp or hot pain. When you're ready, return to your center, lying flat on your back, gently releasing that shoulder head, and bring two hands under your shoulders now with elbows lifted high, hugging close. Ground the pelvis and the legs, squeezing them together, and when you inhale, lift up into a baby cobra. As you exhale, just keep rising. Lift the hips, draw the knees a bit forward and wider apart so you can touch the toes together and aim the tail back in the direction of the heels for child's pose, balasana. Your arms can stretch forward, or if it feels better and the forehead touches the floor, you can bring the arms alongside the outer legs and feel for an opening in the back body. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more inhale. Last exhale here. With the next inhale, prepare to rise up on your knees, stretching your arms up and overhead. Keep breathing in until your palms unite at the top and roll the head back to Sila Union. When you exhale, you'll pull your belly in, reach your fingertips forward, and aim your tail soft and heavy onto the heels. Child's pose. Inhaling, draw your heart forward, coming into a cow pose. Let the belly hang low while the tail, the face, and the heart all lift. Exhaling, separate the toes, tuck them under, and pressing the palms down and forward, you'll lift the knees from the floor and begin to slowly walk your down dog out. You're in Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. And sometimes it's helpful to release any tension you may be holding in the hamstrings or anywhere along the back leg line by walking out the dog, alternately bending one knee at a time as you shift the hips right and left. When you feel complete with that movement, wait for your next inhale to lower your knees down. Let that belly hang, but keep the heart light and buoyant, face lifted. Exhale, touch the toes together, widen the knees, round the upper back, and sink your way down into that place of pure potentiality, child's pose. You might take an extra breath here if it's needed, and with the next inhale, rise powerfully, spreading the arms, moving the pelvis forward and the head and shoulders back as the palms unite. Exhale, draw the belly in, reach the fingertips forward, and come down slow and steady, child's pose. See if you can start to feel into the sequence of postures here. Inhaling, high heart, face and tail. Exhaling, toes tuck under, hips lift up and back, and we're in downward facing dog. One breath, one movement. Next inhale, knees are low, face is lifted. Next exhale, upper back rounds, and we feel that stretch of back skin as we aim the heavy tail to the heels and soften and surrender. Inhaling, we're inspired to rise again and to expand on the way up. Urdhva Hastasana on the knees, upward hands. Exhale, deep bow for earth and ancestors, lightly kissing the earth. Inhale, shining the heart light out into the world, lifting the third eye and opening the throat to the heavens. Exhale, tuck the toes under, bring the hips up and back. And in down dog, I always say in class that we gaze back with gratitude. We look back at all the life we've lived thus far, and we feel a sense of awe for all that has been, because it brought us here to this now moment where all is well. Big breath in. Full breath out through the mouth. Let's clear. Bend both the knees and look up between the hands. Let's take a series of small steps that bring the feet forward. At the top, ground through the 2 feet and press the palms to the shins. Lift the shoulders to the height of the hips and tuck the chin so you feel a sense of elongation in the neck. Firm the belly muscles so the back body is supported, and breathe into the back leg line as you rock your weight forward toward your toes in Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold. Next, exhale, bend the knees a lot. Hang the belly into the space between the legs and drop the heavy head down as you begin to clasp opposite elbows with the hands. Now you've made a frame to rest the head in, so feel that and surrender more of the weight of the upper body over the legs. You might enjoy resting in stillness here. Stillness might be the medicine you need today, or perhaps it's about movement. If you feel tight in the shoulders, sending the forearms forward and back can be a nice exploratory movement, can offer some release. Or you can stay grounded and gently sway the upper body right and left. Maybe you do all 3 and see what feels the most like medicine for you. Whatever feels good, welcome that. And then releasing the hands down to the floor, we'll use an inhale to rise halfway up. And we'll pause and exhale in this kind of crumpled state. And let the next inhale inspire us to come all the way to standing in Tadasana, mountain pose. Grounding down through the soles of the feet. Reaching a sense of energy through the legs. Sending the tailbone down toward the earth while drawing the navel in and keeping the heart light and buoyant. Open heart as we roll shoulders back, lengthen arms at sides, and stretch palms open in a gesture of receptivity. Feel for your ears over your shoulders, and as you send the feet down, you reach the crown up. And feel how your body is very much the bridge between heaven and earth. And how in Tadasana, we get to contemplate mountains. Tadasana means mountain. And in this pose, We choose to be solid and strong, to be rooted and connected, to be grounded and vast, honoring that we too are ancient of days, just like our friends, the mountains. Inviting a big breath in that expands you, and a full breath out that liberates. We'll step the feet together now. Bring the hands together in front of us and bending the elbows. We'll interlace the fingers again, reach those palms out and away and float them up and back next to the ears. This should feel a little more comfortable now as we revisit this shape. Rooting down through the feet, pressing up through the palms, drop the shoulders down and breathe deeply. Inhale, more length in the side body, more opening in the armpits. As you exhale, arc your body over to the right side, any amount. How much is always up to you. So practice honoring your edge. Inhaling, come back to center. The edge is the place where we feel sensation, but we're not bringing ourselves into pain. Exhale, over to the left. Again, how much is up to you. Honor that. Honor what's true for your body as you inhale and come back into center. You'll exhale and unlace the hands, reaching them out wide, and bring those hands together to clasp now behind the back. Once the hands come together, lengthen the arms and roll the shoulder heads back so you feel really expanded in the heart space, breathing in. When you exhale, you'll send your tail back, bringing weight into the heels. Drop the chest down toward the thighs, and releasing the weight of the head will help bring the arms up and off the back any amount. Again, whatever you got is always good enough. Trust and breathe. And you get to watch as you continue practicing how much things change when you become consistent. You can keep the bend in the knees here, or if it feels safe for you to lengthen the legs, breathe into the deep hamstring stretch. The next time you inhale, you'll draw those arms down on the back, bend deeper into the knees, and unlace the fingers, grazing the floor with the fingertips as you exhale. Inhale, float those arms forward and up by the ears, sitting back into Utkatasana chair pose. Here, we'll tuck the tail slightly so that we can lift the heart a little more and draw the arm bones back with the next inhale. As you exhale, take those palms together, reach them forward in front of you, and stay in your chair. Inhale. Exhale, float the left hand down, reach back, and open up any amount into a twist that keeps your knees facing forward while your chest opens and you gaze back to left fingertips. Then exhale, come back to center, sweep those arms forward, inhale here, and exhale, right fingers past the hip, reach back, and the whole chest revolves, feeling expansive as you reach the arms apart. Look back now to the right fingers. Inhale to come back to center. As you exhale again, bend the elbows, interlace the hands. Are you still in your chair pose? Maybe, maybe not. It's okay to let go if it's too much. Float those arms overhead and come to stand strong. Then see about drawing the arm bones back, moving the pelvis forward, lifting the gaze in a tiny standing back arch. Can feel good. And then you'll bring your hands down to your heart. We'll need a moment here, standing in Tadasana, to slow down the momentum of the breath. That was a little bit of a fiery sequence. So it's always good to practice pausing within your sequence, feeling the heart rate slow down, feeling how the breath can support cooling the body after an intense sequence. Big breath in, full breath out. Those clearing breaths with the open mouth exhale also helps so much. So let's prepare to continue here, and you're welcome to stay in the pause as long as you need. When you're ready, the palms come together and we reach the arms up and overhead, inhaling. As we exhale, we'll deeply bend the knees and fold forward, releasing the heavy head to the earth. Inhaling, press the palms to the shins and flatten the back in Ardha Uttanasana. As you exhale, plant the fingertips to the floor, bend the knees deeply. Keep your right foot forward and extend the left leg back in a low lunge. Lower that knee down. Place the top of the foot to the floor, hug the inner thighs together, ground down to lift up. Inhaling, palms come together and the head rolls back to see those thumbs. Exhale and take your hands down now inside the front foot. Let's move the left foot a little more to the left and plant 2 palms down. Inhale here, gazing forward. As you exhale, you might draw that left knee back in space a little bit and lower the hips down any amount that feels good for you. Breathing deeply into the appropriate depth of stretch that you'll find when you honor communications you're receiving from the body. Right now, we're in a lizard pose, opening up the hips. One more inhale. As you exhale, gently lift the hips a little bit. Walk the right foot back into the center and frame the foot with the fingertips. Turn the back toes under, lift the knee, and stretch back into downward facing dog. Invite a big breath in through the nose. A full breath out through the mouth. As you feel ready, you're welcome to lower to the knees to step the left foot forward or simply bring it forward from down dog. Let's take it between the hands and lower the back knee. Ground down and hug the center, hug the midline. Bring the arms forward and pressing prayer hands together, sink the hips down, lift the head up, gaze skyward. Exhaling, we'll begin walking the left foot over to the left a little more and plant the 2 palms down inside the front foot. We'll ground and see about maybe creating more space between knee and heel so that you can deepen the stretch that you feel in the front of the right hip, in the left hip socket. Sometimes this is felt in the low back. Notice what you feel and where you feel it, and always be breathing deeply. In through the nose and out through the nose. Now, as you're ready, walk the foot back to center. Turn the back toes under, lift that knee, and take a step back that brings you into down dog. Invite a big breath in with palms spread wide and pressing forward. Heels drawing down toward the earth, whether they touch or not, doesn't matter, but you keep that downward action, that sense of weightedness in the heels, while the tail feels light and buoyant, stretching up. Breathe in and breathe out. Let's come forward to hands and knees with the inhale. And as you exhale, you'll bring your chin and chest down to the space between your hands. So hug those elbows in and exhale to drop upper body down. Keep the tail high and roll your body through, lowering the pelvis. Roll the shoulders back, lift the heart up any amount in a cobra. Exhale to release to the earth. Inhale to press up and away into all fours, and maybe press back toward a child's pose. In this variation of child's pose, you can have your legs wide, your belly soft and heavy, the elbows grounded to the earth, and prayer hands lifted up and resting behind the head. Big breath in, full breath out. One more inhale. A final exhale. Now, if you feel really good here and you'd like to stay longer, that's always welcome. If you want to continue on, stretch the arms forward. Inhale, lift up. Come back into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog, and breathe in. When you exhale, you'll look up between the hands and maybe take a series of small steps that bring your feet forward. At the top, press palms to shins again, flattening the back, Ardha Uttanasana. As you exhale, fold forward, full Uttanasana, releasing the weight of the head down. Inhaling, bend into the knees, press the arms out wide, and come to stand tall. Urdhva Hastasana, upward reaching hands. See those palms unite. And when you exhale once more, tuck the chin, bend the elbows, interlace the fingers, and press the palms up. Squeeze the legs together powerfully. An option to rise up on the toes, lifting the heels away from the floor. Keep hugging everything to the midline and fix your gaze for better balance. And when you exhale, see about bending those knees forward while taking the tail back to lower down slowly, 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 to come to what we call sometimes a broken toe squat, where you're standing on the balls of the feet and the toes. The thigh bones are parallel with the floor, and the arms are still stretched up. Then when you exhale, take those forearms, take the full arms, the full length of the arms down in front of you, unlace the hands, and sweep them back behind you to support you as you lower the heels and come down onto the tail. From here, take a moment if you need it to just ground, feeling the weight of your tail on the floor. Squeeze the legs together, hold the thighs. Roll your shoulders back, shine your heart light forward, lean back a little bit until your feet float off the floor and bring them up at the height of the knees. Look to your toes in Navasana, boat pose with support. You're able to grab hold and pull yourself in, keeping all integrity in the spine while balancing on the tail with lifted lower legs. Point those toes. That's your gazing point, your dristi. Look to toes and breathe. When you exhale, you'll lower the feet, wrap the arms around the legs, push the tail down, lift the crown up, and breathe in as you rest. Breathe out and clear anything you don't need. So you can practice that same supported variation again, or invite a little challenge into your practice as you squeeze the legs together, lean back in the same way. Float the legs up, but this time, look ma, no hands, right? So arms are aligned with the shins, toes are pointed, navel is pulling in, heart is doing its best to stay high, reach up through the crown of the head. There may be some shaking here, that's very normal and natural. But if you're here and it's caused you to completely collapse and you've lost integrity in your posture, come back to offering yourself support. There's no shame in that, right? So you have lots of ways you can practice the same pose. Big breath in. And when you exhale, releasing feet to floor, wrapping arms around legs, feeling some heat building, feeling a lot of activity in the core of the body. So we'll take Navasana one more time. You now have two options, two ways to practice. Here's a third, squeezing the legs together. If you feel it's accessible, you might reach down to hold the outer edges of the feet or bind the first, second fingers and thumb around your big toes. You'll lean back, find your balance, and begin extending your legs out in front of you. Long legs, deep breaths. So your heels and your feet are pulled out away from you about the length of your arms, so your arms can be straight here. And you're moving your chest toward your toes as you gaze to them. Breathe in Navasana. Breathe out in Navasana. Remember, you can also hold the outer edges of the feet, or you can hold behind the thighs, pointing the toes away. Exhale, release, feet to floor, and let's bring the soles of the feet together now. Oh, that'll feel so good. In Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. So it takes some time to figure out the best distance between your heels and your pelvis in this pose. You might find it a little more easeful to create a wider diamond shape. So feel around for that, holding the ankles. If you'd like, you can butterfly the legs. Big breath in. And let's have an open mouth exhale here. Now, as you're ready, release the movement in the legs, or you can keep it going, whatever you like. But I'll guide us now into a forward fold here. So it begins with a lifted heart. So we breathe in, and when we exhale, the elbows begin to bend and they move out toward the inner knees. So you can lightly place elbows to inner knees, round the back, and drop the head down. Another option is to bring the forearms in front of the shins and clasp the hands around the toes. I do prefer this option because I feel it supports me in moving more forward in the fold. It brings the stretch more keenly into the hips. So see if that feels like medicine for you. And then drop the head down. Let the upper back round and breathe deeply into the opening in the back heart space, into the opening of your hips. Big breath in. Full breath out. Now when you inhale, lift your head and gaze forward. As you exhale, you'll take the hands to the outer knees and give them a lift up. So we're headed now into what maybe could be considered our peak pose, though I create more full spectrum sequences than peak pose sequences. But we have been preparing for malasana, which is garland pose or good old fashioned squat. It's the quintessential grounding pose, bringing us into connection with the earth. So for this, press your fingertips to the floor, lift your tail, and rock your weight forward toward your toes. I'm going to put the fingertips to the floor in front of the feet then and lift up into a forward fold. Let's take a moment to separate the feet wider and to turn the heels in and toes out. So we want an angle with the soles of the feet, right? Then take a moment to maybe shift your hips right and left and start to bend the knees, moving the tail way back. And this is where, if you have a block handy, it can be great to give your tail something to land on. Now, I'll show you how that looks. So placing the block underneath the tail and gently and slowly lowering the tail down until it comes into contact with the block. Then still making sure that enough of your weight can be pressing down into your feet. You bring the palms together in front of the heart and press elbows to inner knees and knees out against elbows. Move heart forward and breathe deeply here in Malasana, garland pose. You might see, feel, and imagine that there's a grounding cord that extends from your tailbone all the way down through the foundation of this building and through all the layers of the earth until it reaches the core. You and Mother Gaia are connected always and always. Feel the truth of this relationship and continue breathing deeply in through the nose and out through the nose. Now, some of us will continue to support ourselves on the block. I'm going to move mine out from underneath. But see, if you are new to the posture, you can just kind of explore with and without the block and see how it feels. So I'm kind of forming it here, no support, but sending the fingertips forward, draw the upper body into the space between the legs and let the head hang down, coming into a kind of forward fold in Malasana. Breathing here in through the nose while extending those arms and fingertips as far forward as you can, and breathing out through the nose. Now drag those fingers back toward the body and press the arms out in front of the legs. Fingertips resting to the earth, just like we began in our seated meditation. Keep the right fingers pressing down and draw the shoulder back to press the knee and the whole leg, that whole right leg back in space as you free the left arm, float it skyward. Let your chest revolve slightly, look up to see your upturned hand, and keep breathing. And then as you exhale, you'll float down the left fingertips, land them right where they lifted from. Press that arm back into the leg. Press the leg forward into the arm. Shift some of your weight over toward that left side. And when you inhale, reach the right arm skyward. Feel the kind of lateral stretch, the mini twist here. Reach up, look up. And then exhaling, slowly release the hands down. Big breath in. Full breath out. If you've had enough of Malasana, you can bring the block back in for support or simply come down onto your tail. Where we're headed here is into fingertips to the floor in front of us, leaning a little bit forward, drawing those feet back to parallel as the tail lifts and the head hangs forward. Take a nice forward fold. Big breath in. Full breath out. When you inhale, bend the knees, spread the arms. Reach all the way up and overhead. As you exhale, bend the elbows, interlace the fingers again, press those palms up. Exhale, heels in, toes out. See about lowering down slowly and mindfully with the block underneath you or coming all the way down into your squat. Then reach those arms forward, press the interlaced fingers to the earth, interlaced hands and palms down, and just be here. Maybe shifting a little bit right and left so one heel comes off the floor and then the other. And when you feel ready to release, unlace the hands, sweep them around behind you, and come on down onto your tail. So you can hug the arms around the legs the same way we did after Navasana, and just feel yourself centering, grounding. You might need a block for what's next. We'll come to rest on the knees in kind of thunderbolt pose. Now, if you are able to sit back and rest the tail on the heels, and it doesn't cause you discomfort in the ankles or the tops of the feet or anywhere along the lower legs, then you're good. If you'd like, though, you can separate the heels behind, take your block, and create a little pedestal to rest your tail on. That'll bring a lot more ease. So if you have the prop or the accessory, be kind to yourself, bring it in, and rest the palms out over the thighs. Bring a slight tuck to the tail so you're long in the low back, and reach the crown of the head skyward. Breathe in here. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. So you'll remove the block from underneath you. And from this kneeling position, you're invited to bring your left fingers to the floor beside you and drop your left hip down. Then slide the right knee a little further away from you and let the two knees separate gently. Keep the left fingers to the floor here and swing the right fingers around in front of the knee. Ground, lift the heart, inhaling. And as you exhale, turn your head and gaze back over the left shoulder. Breathe in. Breathe out. When you inhale, draw your head back to the, or bring your gaze back to the horizon, but then look over the right shoulder. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. And we'll gently release this, bringing the hands to either side of the knees for support. Lift yourself up, squeeze your legs together, sitting back on the heels again briefly. Bring the right fingers out to the right side, drop the right hip down, let those knees move a little bit apart. You're more on the right hip than the left, that's all good. Take the right fingers further back behind you as you swing the left hand around to land outside the thigh. Push down, lift your heart, breathing in, and as you exhale, gaze back. Breathing. Now in through the nose and out through the nose. When you inhale next time, bring your head back to center and keep looking over that left shoulder now. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. And when you're ready, inhale to come back to center and squeeze the legs together. Bring them around in front of you and stretch your legs out long for a forward fold, Paschimottanasana. Ground the palms down first, outside the hips, either forward of the hips, right beside the hips, or right behind, depending on the length of the arms and the relationship between the length of the torso. Big breath in and staff pose, Dandasana, flexed feet. As you exhale, see about a forward fold. It can be helpful sometimes to lift the flesh around the tail up and press it back so that you have the room to tilt the pelvis forward, bringing belly toward thighs. You can stay here as long as the spine is long, the shoulders are rolled back. The hands can rest anywhere along the leg line. If you have the space and feels available, you might reach forward to hold the outer edges of the feet. Still, drop your shoulders, move your sternum toward your toes. Tuck the chin slightly and gaze to the big toe. That's your dristi or gazing point. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. At some point, it might feel good to drop your head down and just to allow your body to round over, letting gravity have its way with the upper body, draws down toward the legs. Paschimottanasana, forward fold. One more deep breath. When you're ready to rise, wait for the inhale to bring you up. And as you exhale, you'll bend your knees, scoop your tail forward toward the heels, and come down onto your back. Moving into a little bridge work here. If you're ready for Shavasana, you can also move in that direction. So we're at the home stretch now. It's all good. Walk your heels back toward your tail, ground them, and feel for heels at fingertips. Bring your arms in long at your sides, palms flat to the earth. Push your feet down, and when you inhale, scoop your pelvis up toward the ceiling. You'll avoid turning your head in this pose, so just keep the skull grounded, the face lifted skyward, but that chest is rising toward the chin as the chin is pulled down toward the chest. Exhale and gently release. So again, any amount of lift that you have here is a beautiful thing. So honor your body's capabilities today. Inhaling, lift up any amount. And when you exhale, lower down slowly. And just one more time, push into the feet, inhale, and bring the pelvis up, 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 up. Exhale and release. So you can set the feet apart as wide as the mat and drop the two knees together to touch. You'll bring one hand to heart and one hand to belly and rest here for 3 deep breaths. Note how the body feels. Observe and honor the truth of your body. We'll bring the arms out wide now like goalposts, laying the backs of the hands to the floor. You'll keep the knees together, the feet wide as the mat, maybe pinky toes even hang off the side edges. Inhale here, and as you exhale, drop 2 knees over to the left side. Slowly moving into a nice little twist. Inhale, both knees high. They may touch on the way to the other side. Exhale, down on the right. Inhale, knees lifted. Exhale, over to the left. Softening down to the earth. Inhale, knees lifted. Exhale, over to the right. So if you'd like to stay in this shape and practice surrendering the weight of the legs to the earth, it's welcome. Give yourself 3 or 4 deep breaths on each side. Again, honoring the truth of your body. If it feels good, you might turn your head in the opposite direction of your knees. You also can lift the foot to lay over the thigh for additional grounding. See what feels like medicine for your body. And when you're ready, inhale the lift of knees. Exhale over to your other side. And take 3 or 4 deep breaths here. Maybe turning the head in the opposite direction. Maybe resting the weight of the heel atop the thigh. Again, doing what feels best for you. And when you feel complete, lifting the knees back to center. Exhaling to hug them in toward the armpits. Reaching 2 arms inside the legs to wrap the fingers around the outer edges of the feet. Happy baby. Knees pull in toward armpits, but feet press up towards the ceiling. Tail is rooted down at the bottom of the long spine. And with the arm bones plugged into the shoulder sockets, you should feel safe in rocking right and left a little bit. It's just a good, cozy, kind of liberating feeling and a great way to end our practice. When you feel complete, release the feet down, stretch the legs out, and prepare for Shavasana. Now, of course, there are many ways to practice Shavasana. If you'd like, you can bring in your blanket rolling it into a kind of a bolster, a kind of a support that you can put in under your knees. This is the bare minimum that I do for Shavasana. Generally, I have lots of props. You know, I teach and practice yoga nidra, so I'm really into creating a comfortable space, but sometimes you don't always have the time for that. So at the end of this practice, we'll just bring in something for under the knees to support lengthening of the low back and a sense of grounding, now lying with the back on the earth, arms out wide, palms turned up in a gesture of receptivity. Of course, you're welcome to bring in additional props, a blanket, a pillow, an eye mask. You might choose to extend your Shavasana here if you have the time and space. But Shavasana is really the most important posture in our practice. And it's a posture that teaches us how to surrender, how to soften, how to release, how to really trust and rest in the truth of our beingness. This is an advanced practice. So let's take a full breath in through the nose and audibly exhale out through the mouth. Now we choose to surrender muscle control, mind control, and even breath control. And for the next 5, 7, 10, 15, however many minutes you choose to rest, you are simply practicing allowing the natural, easy, and free breath to flow, allowing the whole body to soften and rest into the earth, allowing yourself this time and space to be still. Take your time and remain in Shavasana for as long as you feel called. Know that it's been my absolute honor to hold this space and to share my practice with you. I thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to the next time we're together, either here at Haji Healing Salon in Bronzeville, Chicago, or again on YouTube. Until next time, many thanks and many blessings. Ashe, namaste.